Here is the 2024 Volkswagen Golf GTI 380 Autobahn in opal white pearl over black leather. This is the final year for a manual transmission. Next year is going to get a refresh in which the question is going to come in hand. Is it better to option this or wait for 2025? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to touch bases on some pros and cons and the problem that I have with the GTI, starting with standard LED headlights and daytime runnings. The 380 Autobahn gets the light bar that integrates into the Volkswagen badging, and this is specific for the GTI with the lower bumper that's going to receive the honeycomb design and still getting 5.1 inches of clearance. All trims come standard with a VAQ limited slip differential, which helps whenever you're trying to take some of the bends, because let's face it, that's why you buy these vehicles. And the MK8 houses a 2.0 liter TSI turbocharged 4-cylinder with 241 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. We have a 6-speed manual transmission. They offer a 7-speed DSG dual-clutch automatic transmission, reaching 60 at 6 seconds. Achieving 23 mpgs for the city and 34 mpgs for the highway. The 380S, you'll get 19-inch wheels, otherwise standard is an 18-inch wheel. These are gloss black. The 380S also adds the available DCC, adaptively controlling the damper valves with a refined control algorithm, and the XDS cross differential system. Adaptive suspension, this is a sport tune suspension. Red brake calipers, that's going to house 4 pistons in the front. It's not going to be ventilated and slotted like the R, in which when you're at a $40,000 price point, few grand more, you can option the R. So you may want to test drive both. That way you can see, because the 0 to 60 also is going to be quicker. You will have 315 horsepower. It's tuned underneath the hood. The suspension layout is also going to be different. The skirt for the GTI Autobahn will get the matte black. Gloss black elements for the side view mirror, and the top, in the two-tone top, that's part of the Autobahn 380, which if you tick the box just for the Autobahn, the side view mirrors and the roof will not get the gloss black. You have to go to the 380. Lower roof spoiler, it's going to be more aggressive when you get into the R, but you'll get the gloss black elements on the side, LED tail lights, and the lower receives the matte black, dual exhaust outlets, reverse sensors with the reverse camera. Tick the box for the SE, and here's the twist. You'll get the gloss black roof and the side view mirror caps, which are the only 2 trims that offer that. Going against rivals, it's not going to be the fastest variant, but if you spend a few extra dollars, go to the R, you will be the fastest in class. Quick release going into 17.4 cubic feet. The bumpers will set up a little bit. You have a little cargo on both sides. 12-volt charger, bag holders, LED interior lights underneath the floor. Gets a spare tire. The privacy cover is easy to remove. And split fold the rear bench in the back, because it's a hatch. And that will increase cargo to 53.7 cubic feet. You have a pass-through. This is the GTI. We need to go inside and start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. Vienna leather, 12-way power seat adjustment for the driver, 2-way power seat adjustment for the passenger, heated ventilated seats. They're bolstered more sport with the GTI badging, memory for the driver. Headroom and leg room. The driver focus setup makes it a little bit more engaging for the front occupants, but it does take quite a bit of space from the passenger. You do receive a little cargo net here, but you can see the footwell is also compromised. The dash is more flat, 9-speaker Harman Kardon, heads-up display with auto-dimming rear view mirror, LED interior lights, and a moon roof. The one panel is going to have a 10-inch infotainment for the center with navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. Ambient lights, you have over 30 different color configurations. put it into reverse. We get a reverse camera with trajectory that expands when you turn the wheel. Click that off. Click onto the quick apps, which is the Climatron, which is a climate control setting for the front. My modes, which you have Eco, Comfort, and Sport. Sport will funnel in through the speakers. When you click onto Custom, you can make it a little bit more sport derived. Click onto the Assist, and you can tailor this to make it a little bit easier for your day in, day out use, changing the feature layout. Wireless charging pad with USB ports, and you get a little bit of a wall right here with the gloss black leather around the shifter with the red that's going to highlight the 6-speed manual transmission, which this is the last year that we're going to have that, and the key fob for the GTI. Cup holders with a 12 volt. Open that up, and now you have a cup holder that can be more usable because this slides up, in which you would close that off, slide it back, open it up, and it is a smaller storage box, but it is pretty deep. 3-spoke leather wrap steering wheel. It is perforated on the sides, heated GTI badging with the red and the cross stitch. It is a flat bottom layout with the touch. Gauge cluster is a 10.25, which can go through an array of information for the driver. And you can do this for each side, as well as the center. And you can change the view of it to make it enlarged with the navigation, in which you get it on both screens now, or you can make it smaller and more seamless. The dashboard and the door panels configuring together. Touch yet again to turn on and off the lights. I just leave it on automatic, and you get the aluminum inlays that brush down through the center of the dashboard. And it's going to be more of your everyday materials with ambient lighting. It is soft to touch where it needs to be. One touch up and down for the windows with a deep and long storage pocket. Back seats, you have plenty of headroom if you're 6'3" like me. Leg space gets a little bit compromised. This is in the seat position as I would be sitting, but if I sit a little bit back, you have some space. Storage, you have a ton of it on both seats. Third climate control, USB ports are going to be tucked down there. Air vents, cup holders with an armrest that's actually usable. The door panel unfortunately gets stripped of all of the materials that's going to be in the front except for the soft to touch area. The same thing if you go into the Golf R, and the storage pocket is going to be deep, just not so long. Sliding into the center, the floor picks up quite a bit. You're going to be sharing feet space because the rails are pushed back too far, but leg and shoulder space will be shared as well, but headroom is going to be fine for somebody with my dimensions. Now in Europe, you're going to receive 21 horsepower more than North America. We only get 241 horsepower out of the GTI and 273 pound-feet of torque for this turbocharged 4-cylinder. Now, going back to the question at hand, should you wait and option the 25 model? That's going to have a 12.9-inch infotainment screen, and the gauge cluster is going to be smaller at 10 inches instead of 10.25. So I kind of like the setup of this one, because it's not so much in your face, it's more driver focused and small but big enough because of the way they have this curved panel screen. Visibility is great, ground clearance is also good, so you can go over any speed bumps or any imperfections in the road. The road noise filters in, but you expect that. This is a box on wheels. And the other major update for 25 is the MIB4 software, in which you know they're still going to update this one, but obviously down the road they will discontinue this one quicker. It's going to take me to some pros and cons before we get to performance, in which I'm going to just change the mode to make sure I'm in sport. The pros is you're getting a lot of technology. The driver focus setup makes it feel a little bit more sporty than most of the rivals. You sit up a little bit higher, you have better ground clearance, and you have enough performance underneath the hood. 241 horsepower motivates the vehicle to a 0 to 60 at 6 seconds. The con, we are dropping the manual. This is the last year for it. Here we go. She is quick. The other con is the exhaust filters in through the speakers, in which when you're not at a higher RPM, all you hear is the road noise. It's going to be pretty smooth for the drive, and it reads the road over 200 times per second, so that way it can rebound and be a little bit more of a smooth or rigid drive depending on your driving modes. The big problem that I have with the Golf GTI is when you go into the base trims, you're still optioning an 8-inch infotainment screen. You have cloth seats. I know it's just a touch over 30 grand, but when I'm thinking rival perspective, I'm getting the smallest screen in class. I'm not getting all the technology. You have to spend near 40 grand in order to get this vehicle as spec'd out as it is. And then when you get to that variant, now you're hovering the price of a Golf R. Turn radius at a stop point. It's going to receive about 2 lanes. Let's rock and roll. It still captures all the fun in one little box. It doesn't have the drift mode that you will get in the R. It doesn't have the same tuning for the suspension nor the engine. That's why it's a lot faster, but you're getting all the technology and safety. The other con has to be that we are losing horsepower compared to the European market. And I get it. It's not such a demanding vehicle in North America. It just would be nice to give us the same amount of horsepower and performance numbers, because that 0 to 60 is going to be in the 5-second margin, whereas we're at 6 seconds flat. Going against comparable rivals, because the price of this goes into the $40,000 margin, you can option the GR Corolla, in which it will be faster night and day, that is. But then when you're thinking everyday use, the space, it's going to be tight in the back seats. You lose quite a bit of cargo capacity, and there isn't any way to add cargo to that vehicle, so it's really like a 2-seater. The exterior is going to look a lot more aggressive than this, but then when you're at that $30,000, but then when you're at that 39 to 40 grand price point, you're stripped with every amenity in the interior, in which when you actually put the vehicles side to side with the same features, you're going to be spending more money with Toyota and Honda. And because there is a refresh that is on the horizon, would I option the 25? I personally like the MK8 the way it is with the screen layout. I think adding that extra screen size and decreasing the driver gauge cluster is going to make it look a little bit more abnormal, in which it's going to fit the same segment as every Volkswagen. Plus, we're losing a manual transmission, so when you think about everything as a package, this is something that's going to be a little bit more of a treat, and yet it's still fun to drive and practical. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Volkswagen of Newport Richey for giving us this 2024 Golf GTI 380 Autobahn for our car review.